I'm Jordan Rayner, and this is the Word Before Work. Today we're reading from Mark 12, 28 through 31. Here's what it says. One of the teachers of the law came and heard them debating. Noticing that Jesus had given them a good answer, he asked him, Jesus, of all the commandments, which is the most important? The most important one, answered Jesus, is this. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. The second is this. Love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. Fred Rogers had a vision for a children's television show that would make goodness attractive, but not just any brand of goodness. Rogers was convinced that he could make the goodness of Christ and the gospel of Jesus Christ winsome to the world, especially the world of children. Now, due to the public funding of Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, Rogers couldn't be explicit with the gospel message while he was on air. But he was convinced that wasn't necessary. Instead of preaching the gospel explicitly from his television pulpit, Rogers created a show that consistently modeled Christ-like character and, most prominently, loved every neighbor as himself. As his friend, Reverend George Worth said, quote, Fred's theology was love your neighbor as yourself, period, end quote. And this was the ultimate theme that came through in the 30-plus year run of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. The name of the show itself and Rogers' daily greeting of hello neighbor to his television audience served to set the stage for what he hoped to communicate in his entire television ministry. Throughout the show, throughout the 30-plus seasons, there were countless examples of Rogers displaying what at the time seemed like radical displays of Christ-like love, especially to the overlooked, the underserved, and the marginalized. In one episode in 1969, during the heat of racial tensions across America, Rogers and a black man washed their feet together on screen. In another episode, Rogers took a significant amount of time to patiently sing a song with a disabled boy in a wheelchair. And of course, in each of the show's 912 episodes, Rogers showed children their inherent God-given dignity, treating them as important and valued as adults. To Fred Rogers, the idea that everyone has inherent dignity was obvious. If you said otherwise for him, you might as well go against the very fundamentals of the Christian faith. By loving every single neighbor in the neighborhood as himself and treating everyone with the utmost dignity, Fred Rogers modeled the gospel to millions of children every single day. And in so doing, created one of the most beloved cultural goods of the 20th century. In Rogers, we find an example to follow in our own efforts to influence culture for the sake of the gospel. While it may not always be possible or even effective to preach the gospel explicitly through our work, all of us are called to demonstrate Christ-like character and to make goodness, the goodness of Jesus, attractive to those around us. This truth significantly influenced what Rogers decided to put on air. And as we'll see in the next devotional, Rogers' faith also impacted how he went about that work. Today's devotional only scratches the surface of how God's Word connects to our work. If you want to go deeper, sign up for my free 20-day devotional called The Word Before Work Foundations at twbwfoundations.com. These email devotionals are designed to help you gain a rich understanding of the biblical narrative of work, how exactly your work matters for eternity, and what those truths mean for how we ought to work today. Sign up right now, again, totally free at twbwfoundations.com.